Hello, Robin. How has 2020 been so far?
Reflecting back on 2020, it has been a really interesting time. Nobody was trained to encounter or to deal with such a incredible encounter. Nobody in any industry, any person was ready for this. And yeah, looking back at it, it's been quite an experience. It made us smarter, stronger, more determined, agile. In one way, it's been an interesting learning experience.
How has COVID affected you and your colleagues?
We've been very fortunate that nobody was harmed badly by COVID. There were people were taken up with the illness, myself as well, my wife, but had the mild symptoms. So we went through it okay. We survived, and nobody got terribly ill or passed away. Thank goodness.
Have you changed the way that you work?
Oh, people have changed entirely the way they work, and I think it will be here to stay in the long run. There will be a combination of still going back to work and collaborating with your colleagues, but when you're dealing with telephone calls, emails, virtual meetings, those will be encouraged to be conducted from home. So you need the best of both worlds, how do you blend the working from home environment with the actual corporate environment or the office environment? How do you blend those two together? And that's what we're really dealing with today, bringing the philosophy from the office at home and vice versa.
It's being said that we've seen 3 years of progress in tech, like video conferencing, in 3 months. Has lockdown helped the AV business?
I don't believe that it's rescued. These software tools like Zoom and Teams have rescued the AV space, but they certainly have enhanced it and made the experience a lot better. I think the AV world would have found a solution, but it wouldn't have been as slick and as easy and not so uniform. Right, because the AV business is still quite disjointed, and I remember like yesterday when IP was introduced to the AV industry as a protocol of communication between devices. The AV industry really didn't want to embrace it. They were very much against it. They were very much from no, 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 no. If we open the door to IT, it's going to be the end of our world. And Crestron championed that from day one. They said no, IP is the way forward. We've got to get onto that high-speed train, and if we are part of IT, then that will be our longevity. And proof is in the pudding, as they say, and that's absolutely the case today. So yeah, this whole experience between the different platforms, software communication platforms, has helped the the AV industry.
What next? Where do you see the market moving?
Prior to COVID, everybody was talking about huddle spaces, right? Making little environments of collaboration, huddling together to discuss projects and finance and all different departments. The huddle was the hot topic. And as we know today, you've got a social distance. So huddle is no longer the way. So how can we now transform the huddle experience that everybody was so much longing for and needed and started to embrace? How are we going to take that now into the next level and adopt that in today's world? Sure, vaccination awaiting for the world. How is that going to still affect the way we work and collaborate together? So yeah, the real truth to the answer, I don't have the real answer to that question, but I do know that we have all the components in the technology space to be able to modify really quickly to get to what the customer actually needs. And I think we're going to see a combination of working from home with collaboration in the offices and bringing those people together around a virtual table from the different environments. So that's definitely the way that it will be played.
5 years ago, this scenario would have brought business to a standstill. Thanks to our AV IT infrastructures, we appear to be, in the most part, managing. Is AV still an exciting place to be?
Oh, there's no doubt that it's exciting. There's no doubt that it's challenging. But we live in a very dynamic industry, and that's what makes it really the opportunity, I think, more than ever. When there's such earth moving changes to the economics or politics, there's always an opportunity, and that gives, I think, technology is showing that there's an opportunity. We're in a fabulous business, and technology has that magic touch to it that it can provide that solution. So it's now combining those changes that we're looking at today with the technology that we have and making them work to do what we need to have it working.
Have you ever seen anything quite like this? What about our friends and colleagues who've been laid off or are finding it really difficult?
Well, look, this experience that we've endured with the COVID reminds me a lot of in 2001, September the 11th. The Earth stood still for quite some time, and some of those big markets that we were really very successful in literally dried up overnight, and there were loads of redundancies, loads of companies folded. It was a very challenging, worrying time. It's like what we experienced then, we are experiencing now, except the enemy is much more unknown. It's invisible, as they say, and the world has adapted tremendously since then. We've learnt our lessons well since then. New markets have arisen and flourished, and old markets went on the decline. So that makes the interesting thing is that we always see the need for technology. Like, for example, a prime market for us is the education space. What happened? All universities shut their door. All universities didn't allow people on site anymore. So how are they now dealing with the change of use of technology? And how we're seeing it now is they're making like this hybrid technology. Everybody loves the term hybrid today, but they're looking to do live classrooms with a very limited audience, and then students participating from any location into the classroom virtually. So it's really, I think this was on the cards for a long time. Now it's scalable to work. It's going to be more efficient. It will reduce the amount of people moving from point A to point B, so reducing the impact on the environment. It will reduce the amount of stress levels with people so they can focus on the work. I think this is a real positive development in our existence as a human species almost, that the way we're working is now this force of change. Sure, it's troubling. Sure, there's going to be a lot of changes. But in the long run, I'm sure everybody will find themselves back on their feet and in different environments.
Thank you, Robin.